Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Alrighty, we're going to be finishing up the Asvab Mathematical Knowledge Test. Okay, so if you know anybody that needs to pass the Asvab, that wants to join the military, please share this live with them. It's basically high school math. Thank you for the double taps. Thank you. And so we're going to start, okay? Last night we left off on number 13. Now we're going to start on number 14. So it says 900 times 3 divided by 6. What is our answer? Love your life, sis. Oh, thank you, Scrapbook. Thank you, Flores, for the roses. Thank you for joining me on a daytime. Look at me being all early and stuff, right? I'm usually on here at night. So, how I would do this, right? If I didn't, I would go this way. Let me show you how I would do it. I would do 3 divided by into 6. So I would cancel this out, make this a 1, and then make this a 2. And then I would take half of 900. Well, half of 90 is 45, and then I just add the 0. So our answer has to be B. It has to be B. Did that make sense? No worries, Flores. No worries. I'm glad you tried it, but did this make sense to you? That's the question. So instead of doing 9 times 3, right, and getting 2,700, and then dividing that by 6, which would take us more time, I always teach my students, let's simplify here and then divide this, because this is easier than doing 6 into 2,700. Oh, no worries. Good. I'm glad you see. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. So let's jump to number 15. If x equals 2, then x to the x times x to the x equals what? Okay. Whenever they give you a number, that means you're plugging in wherever you see a x, you're plugging in 2, okay? So we're going to do 2 to the second times 2 to the second. Now, 2 to the second is 2 times 2. So this is also 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then this will be 4. 4 times 4. So A would be our answer. 16. Yeah, you got to run those wheels again. I love it. I love it. All right, let's jump to the next. 16. Tell me what you guys get in the chat for number 16. Oh, that's easy. Good. Thank you for the double taps, everyone. And the follows. Thank you, Silos. So it says solve for x. You guys get A, B, C, or D. And remember, with the Asvab, you cannot have a calculator. Hey, Elizabeth Torres. So you got B. Okay, B. All right. I see C. Okay, good. Okay, Joe says C. All right. So we would need to factor this. And since this is called a trinomial, and they have 2 negatives, you're going to have a plus and a minus. That's going to be your signs when you have 2 negatives here. And then you're asking yourself, what times what gets you x squared? Well, x times x is what gets you x squared. And then what times what gets you 15? So you go over here. I call this little T-chart. 1 and 15. We do 3 and 5, okay? So now we need a -2 here. Okay, we need a -2. So if we're adding these, the only way we can get a -2 is if the bigger number's negatives, because 3 minus 5 gets us the -2. So we're going to put the 5 here, and we're going to put the +3 here. Now, they gave us a sweet little thing because they only gave us 1, 3, and 5. So as soon as you saw this, C was your answer, because that's the only way that you can multiply to get to 15. 4 and 8 would never multiply to get to 15. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. So that's why these don't work. But let me show you how you actually get this, okay? Since they're equal to 0, we would have to solve these, each of these parentheses, binomials, okay? Math was never my subject. It always made me feel stupid. Oh, I'm sorry, Chocolate Brown. You know, in high school, I struggled. Like, my math teacher, like, I'm sure, he's like so shocked. Like, you're a math major? You actually went to college for math? I remember my high school math teacher, it was a struggle. Nothing made sense to me until I got to college. And then it was like, oh, that's all this is? It just takes the right person to explain it. I'm telling you, that right person that clicks for your brain. And then it's like, man, this is so much simpler. I don't know why. And it's all in timing. I believe everything in life is timing, right? So don't think you're bad at math. You just haven't found the right person to make your brain click. And so that's why we get a +5 and a -3, because we have to move the opposite sign. Faith, yes. So you guys, I just put up in my link tree, go to my profile. I have a booking now. So go to my link tree and book with me in there. And then make sure you put, when you book a session, make sure you put what you're studying and what you want to cover in our session. I agree. The right teacher will make you love math. That is so true. Yep. Okay, so no worries, Faith. Yep. So 17, square root 49 divided by square root 64. What do you guys get in the chat? A, B, C, or D? What do you guys get? Seven eighths. J-Man says 7 eighths. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so the square root of 49, D, good, is 7. Okay. And then we have divided by, so that means over. Square root of 64 is 8. When you're taking the ASVAB, I suggest you know all your perfect squares. Like 4, what's the next one? 9, 16, 25, right? And then you should be able to do the square root of that. You know, that's 2 squared. This is 3 squared. This is 4 squared. Okay. So if you have these perfect squares, these are called perfect squares, you guys. If you have these memorized, I would say go all the way up to 15, which is 225. This is very common for the ASVAB. So you guys are right. D is our answer. Just have these memorized. So when you see them, you know them right off the top of your head. Okay. Pythagorean triples also. Yes. Would help. So 18. If 5y squared equals 80, then y is what? Is it a positive number? Is it a negative number? Either a positive or a negative number, or an imaginary number? What do you guys get in the chat for 18? So we got D, an imaginary number. Ooh, okay. I guess it just like in school, imaginary number. All right, so let's solve this, okay? So we have 5y squared equals 80. So Dro said A, B. Ooh, we kind of all over the place with this one. So whenever you have a number attached to a letter, variable, this is called a variable, they're multiplied. To undo multiplication, we have to divide. So we're going to divide both of these by 5, okay? So I don't know that off the top of my head. So 5 goes into 8 one time. And then 8 minus 5 is 3. Drop down your 0. 5 goes into 36. So we're going to have y squared equals 16. Okay. Ooh, okay. 4 or -4. I see it in the chat. So now to get rid of a square, we have to square root. But whenever you square root a number, you have to put plus or minus. And so this is what I mean by knowing your perfect squares. See, the square root of 16 is 4. So we would have a positive 4 or a negative 4. So C is our answer. C is actually our answer. And most people forget when you take the square root of a number, you have to put plus or minus. So I hope that makes sense now. Okay, let's keep it pushing. Okay. C could be an imaginary also, depending on the state of mind. Right? It's totally on the state of mind. So 19. If 2 plus x is greater than or equal to 15, what's the value of x? What do we get for 19? This is the same kind of math as a GED. Yes, it is very similar to the GED, but the GED, you get to use a calculator. And also the TSI, you get to use a calculator. From what, like all the people that have taken it, I heard they get to use a calculator. There's a part on the GED where you don't, but that's only like 5 questions. I only got a 96 on the Asvab. That's good. In 1989. Oh, nice. How many years did you do? Hi, Miss Taylor. What days do you have the HESI questions? I was gonna do, so my HESI questions, I know I haven't decided what day I was gonna do it this week, but I wanted to do dosage calculations, which is like what you're gonna do. So I have my next lesson's gonna be doing dose calculations, and then a little bit of like what the HESI would be on, and I plan on doing that hopefully tonight, but if not tonight, tomorrow for sure. But we're going to start with dosage. So if you need help with that, join me either tonight or tomorrow, okay? And somebody asked, what is the lowest score on the ASVAB to pass? I'm not a recruiter, so don't get me start to lying, okay? Because I think each branch has a different score. So if I have any of my Army people, Navy, please answer that for her, please. Because it's different. It's a different score for each branch you want to go to. Okay, so let's continue here. So we have 2 plus x is greater than or equal to 15. We want to get this 2, this positive 2, to the other side. The way that we do that is we have to do the opposite of positive. So we're going to subtract 2 to both sides. So we get x is greater than or equal to 15 minus 2 is 13. So it says, what's the value of x? And we have to make sure we put the right sign. So it's going to be C. It's going to be C. Okay, C is our answer. Now, some people might have got tripped up, right? Because they're like, oh, it's a negative though. No, you only flip the sign in inequalities when you divide or multiply by a negative, not when you're subtracting. So don't get that confused. Okay. All right. And of course, we can't get away with no geometry, right? So number 20, if a circle has a radius of 15 feet, what is the best estimate of its circumference? All right, so that's a lot circumference. Okay, this is a lot right here. Does anybody know the formula for circumference? No? Pi r squared? Ooh, that is area. Pi r squared. So circumference formula is 2 pi r. Now what you guys were giving me is the area formula, which is pi r squared. 2 different formulas. So another part of this test is also the memorization of certain formulas, like how you find the area of a rectangle, the perimeter of a rectangle, circumference, circle, right? So there's no way we can do this question. We would just have to guess if we did not know the formula. So they did tell us the radius is 15. So we could do 2 times, and then the pi is 3.14, okay, times 15. So what I would do is I would do 2 times 15. I would double 15 first. And that would be 30 times 3.14, okay? And then it says, which is the best estimate? So we're going to do this, okay? And we're going to times. So that would be, this will all be 0, 0. Put your placeholder here. 3 times 0 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And then 3 times 3 is 9. So as soon as I would have saw that it was 9, 4, this is my answer. Yes, 3.142, and it keeps on going on and on forever, right? That pi. Any questions on this one? Any questions? Yes. Okay, so somebody said, can ballpark is just multiply the 30 and the 3, which that only works, right, if they didn't give us another 90, which they didn't here. So that is a better way. Just do 30 times 3, and you see it's only 9. So then that would have to be it. So you're right on that. Great advice. Where did you get the 3.14? That's another thing that you have to have memorized, how much pi is. So this is a number, and it's approximately 3.14, and it keeps on going forever, but they just use 3.14. So this is equal to this. Great question. Oh, Jalen said, how do you do math so fast? Do I do it fast? I'm sorry. This, you have to, like, if you're going to take this test, you have to know your multiplication facts. Because if you're struggling with 9 times 3 or 9 times 8, that's beating your time up for when you have to answer these questions. So it just, like, I always tell my students, like, if they failed the ASVAB, I always say download a multiplication. I know it's like, I know my multiplication facts. But if you don't know them quick enough, that's eating away your time from getting more questions right. So I always tell them to download, like, there's a whole bunch of that you can download on your phone. Practice it 5 minutes a day. Just go in 5 minutes, multiplication, multiplication, multiplication. And then by the time they take their next test, it really helps. And a lot of them pass. What app do I recommend? Ooh, I don't even know. I just tell them to look online. I don't even have a app that I like. I should start looking into that. Is this algebra? It's algebra. It's high school math. The ASVAB is high school math. So from where to get the 2? Oh, this is the formula that you have to have memorized whenever they say circumference and they talk about radius. C equals 2 pi r. So great. Good questions, you guys. Great questions. All right, let's go to 21. What's the value of a box? Okay, this is key here. Volume of a box measuring 12 inches long by 8 inches deep by 10 inches high. All right, somebody tell me my volume formula. Do we know it in the chat? Do we know it? Thank you for the follow. Can everybody take a second to double tap their screen? Can we get to 5K likes in the chat, please? Length times width times height. I love it. Yes, you guys. Length times base times height. All works, right? Length times base times height, or length times width. It just all depends, right? How you're looking at it. So we're going to do 12 times 8 times 10. Thank you for the double taps. I see them coming in. Thank you, thank you. So, how my brain is looking to do this is, well, we know 12 times 8 can't be 42. It has to be way bigger than 42. So C is out, okay? And then 12 times 10 is 120. And 128 times has to be bigger than B. And I believe it has to be bigger than D. So I would go with A. I wouldn't even take the time, and I would go to the next. That's how I would look at this problem. They're not necessarily saying you have to do each and every step. They want you to look at the problem and you can rationalize, okay, which is it? Okay, this is too small. This one, 128 is too close because that's only just 12 times 10 is 120. And if I'm doing 128 times, it has to be bigger than 200. So process of elimination. Thank you, H colon. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, my words, I can't find them today. So I hope that makes sense how we use our answers to help us answer the question. Can always do this in any multiple choice tests. Okay. All right. Let's keep it pushing. Okay, so we have some more geometry. Oh, also, you guys, if you want to see this recording, please follow me at Impact Math 19, and I'm on YouTube. I post all my lives on YouTube over there, okay? And I also do mini lessons for the Asvab, like specific topics that people struggle with on the Asvab on my YouTube page. So go ahead and follow me over there. I appreciate the support, and thank you for all the follows here. Thank you, and the double taps, you guys. Okay, so the following figure is it a parallelogram, an obtuse triangle, a trapezoid, or a rectangle? What do you guys say? Is it A, B, C, or D? So we have A, C, C. Okay. So let me explain what a parallelogram. A parallelogram, okay, so let's go to a rectangle. A rectangle is like this, right? And it has 90-degree angles in it, okay? Now, a parallelogram is a slanted rectangle. That's what I like to say. It's slanted like this. But its opposite sides are the same in length. So they're congruent. Opposite sides are congruent, okay? So this cannot be a parallelogram and it can't be a rectangle. Now, this is an obtuse triangle. A triangle would look something like this, you could say, or an obtuse, we could say this, okay? One angle is really big. So we know it's not a triangle. So thus it has to be a trapezoid. A trapezoid is where you have base 1 plus base 2 times the height times a half. So it is a trapezoid. Good. So somebody said a parallelogram has two sets of parallel lines. So it could be a crooked rectangle, a square, a rectangle. Yes. Somebody said, can I go to the restroom? Washroom? Yes, you can. No, what did my school do? They did, what did we do? It was like this program for E-Hall. No E-Hall pass. A triangle got its head caught in a trap. All right, let's do 23. The sum of the measures of the interior angles of a parallelogram is. So the sum of the measures of an interior angle of a parallelogram is. What do you guys say? A, 360, AA. Okay. B, AA. So all quadrilaterals, that means all four-sided shapes, add up to 360. And let me show you why. There's a formula that says n minus 2 times 180. And this is, you put in the number of sides. So this has 4 sides. So we do 4 minus 2 times 180. And that would be 2 times 180. And 180 doubled is 360. But all quadrilaterals, all four-sided shapes must add up to 360. Okay? 540 would be a pentagon. Penta, five-sided. 180 is all triangles. Okay? All triangles add up to 180. And then 720, I forgot how many sides that would have to have. But yes, a quadrilateral equals 360. And quadrilateral means four-sided shapes. Any four-sided shapes. Oh, good. So you said 6 is for 720, a six-sided shape? Thank you. But this is the formula right here, you guys, for interior angles. But you don't want to memorize too many things. You just want to know four-sided shape, 360. Okay. All right. Okay, 24. What is the prime factorization of 100? What do you guys get in the chat? A, B, C, or D? What are we saying? Oh, Maria. I'm so lost. I need to go back to school. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Just stay up in here. It'll start clicking. A, B, B. Okay, so we got A, we got B. All right, so let's talk about this word right here. Because if you understand this word, you'll realize a lot of these can't be your answer, okay? So prime. A prime number is where only 1 times itself can give you that number. So for example, 3 is a prime because only 1 times 3 will get me 3. Nothing else times something else will get me 3, okay? So if it says, what is the prime factorization? A doesn't work because 50 is not a prime. 50 is, I could do 2 times 25. I could do 5 times 5. So that's why this is not going to work. 4 is not a prime number because 2 times 2 gets us 4. So that doesn't work. 25 is not a prime because 5 times 5. So the only prime is B. And we didn't even have to do the factor tree here. We didn't have to break it down. We just had to understand what prime means. Yes, math has vocabulary questions. Math has its own language. And so that's what trips people up a lot because they can do if they understood what this meant, right? Prime, then it'd be like, oh, this can only be our answer, right? But a lot of people don't teach the math vocabulary, and they just throw it into questions, and that's why people can't stand math because it's like, I don't even know what it's asking for, right? Can you explain what prime numbers are again? Yes, I can. So a prime number is where it's only, so like I said, 3, right? 3 can only be multiplied by 1 times 3 to get it. So a prime number, you can only multiply 1 times itself to get you that number. So like 7 is another example. So 7, only 1 times 7 can get us 7. Okay. So let's shoot out some other prime numbers in the chat. Let me make sure you guys get it. So what are some other prime numbers? Oh, thank you, Cantrell. Okay, 11, 13. Good. Yes. So 11. What times what gives us 11? Only 1 times 11. There's nothing else that can get us 11. And somebody said 2 is the lowest prime number. Yes, 2 is the smallest because only 1 times 2 can get us 2. So it's numbers where only 1 times itself can get it. Good. Oh, so let's talk about this. Somebody put 49. Well, let's talk about this. Is 49 a prime? What times what gives us 49? Well, 7 times 7 does. So this is actually not a prime because 7 times 7 will equal 49. Remember, only 1 times itself can. So great. Good. Yes, good. Yes. 53 is prime though. It's 53 prime. 5. So 8. When you start to get real high, I'm like, ooh, is it? I'm thinking maybe. I would have to Google it though. Yes. Okay, somebody said yes, they agree with you. So odd numbers are prime? No. Because we just said 2 was a prime and 2 is an even number. So it's not just odd numbers. It just really depends on the number, what only 1 times itself can get you it. So that's a great question. Hey, sis. Can you please elaborate? B? And how'd you get the answer? Okay, so let me show you how you would get the answer. So let's say like this is, so let's do 100, okay? So I'm gonna go, do I have a little space over here? 100. So we're saying what times what gets us 100? Well, 2 times 50 does, okay? 2 is a prime because only 1 times 2 gets you 2. So I'm gonna circle all my primes. Then I'm gonna say what times what gives me 50? Well, 5 times 10 gets me 50. 5 is a prime because only 1 times 5 can get you 5. Let's break down 10. So 10 is 2 times 5. Prime, prime. So if we're listing our prime factorization for 100, we would say we have 2 2's, 2 to the second, times, how many 5's do we have? Well, we have 5 2's. And that's how this answer is like this. Exponents first, then multiply. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Great, you guys. All right, let's do 25. So the square root of -9 is an example of an real number, imaginary number, irrational number, rational number. What do you guys say in the chat? A, D, B. Ooh, we kind of all over the place with this one. See? All right, so this is something that you would have learned in Algebra 2. They do not teach you these in Algebra 1, okay? So in Algebra 2, whenever we take the square root of a negative number, we had to put that I, and that I meant imaginary, okay? So whenever you take the square root of a negative number, it's an imaginary, an I would come out. And then the square root of 9 is 3, so it would be 3i. So B is our answer. It's an imaginary number. Yes, vocabulary questions. Yes, they do have them. Yes, yes, yes. How did you get 3? How I got 3 is by when you take the square root of a 9, you're asking yourself what times what gets you 9? Well, 3 times 3. And when we take the square root, we're looking for a pair. So since this is a pair of 3's, they come out of the square root as a 3. So that's why it's just 3. Okay. Oh, please define. Okay. So a real number is like any numbers on the number line. I would say 1, 2, 3. You could have decimals 1.1, 1.2, 1.1234. Like it's just any numbers, any real number, right? Imaginary numbers are when they have the I attached to them, like the square root of a negative. So it's an imaginary. They call it imaginary. Irrational numbers are like this, like a square root 2 or pi. Okay, it's numbers that decimals that go on forever, that repeat forever, that never end. They go on forever. Rational numbers are fractions that where the decimal terminates. So like 1/2, 1/3. Okay. This rational numbers are like these. Irrational are like these, where the decimals go on forever. Oh, hey, let's chat, girls. Oh, I love it. You're from London. Wonderful. And then a real number is just any number on the number line. So I hope that makes sense of what these are, okay? Like pi is irrational? Yes. Because it like 3.14 and it just keeps on going on and on and on and on. The decimal never stops. Yes, a real number can be negative. So you can have negative dollars, right? We can owe people money, be in debt. Yes. So a real number can have negatives. Yep. Great question. Good. All right, you guys. And I think that is the end of this first test. We did start yesterday, so I will be posting both halves. And this is the next one. That's the next test. So I have like quite a different ones where they have different questions, right? So we'll just keep on pushing. And then I want to, because a lot of people have been telling me they're struggling with the arithmetic reasoning type of test. So I do want to do a live on those, right? Because this is like the hardest part of the military test is all that word problems. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. I do have to get ready for my tutoring right now. So if you are looking for help, click on my link on the LinkedIn tree. Sign up. You can book me, and make sure if you book an appointment, tell me what we're working on, and I'll have the lesson all planned out. All righty. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and I most definitely will catch you on the next one. Bye, you guys.